Good morning, everyone. This is my last video lecture for us, so hang on. Today we're going to go over multimodal arguments. This will not be new information for you, really. This is something that you see in your life every day. Okay, I had you guys read chapter 16 in your textbook. I'm going to move through this fairly quickly. I think that the best way to understand this is to read the information and start to notice how all of the media we interact with every day can be argumentative. So this week, you should be reading chapter 16. Next week, it's the last week of real class. We will have a very simple brainstorming assignment, and then you'll turn in your multimodal argument on May 1st. It's not as scary as it sounds. You use these forms of media every day. So this should be something very natural for you guys to do in your last weeks of this class. So all semester we have been writing conventional forms of argument. We wrote a rhetorical analysis, we gave presentations on research, we have written our research papers, and I am grading those. Now we are going to talk about new media forms of argument. So when you talk about new media versus old media consists of things like speeches and debates in public forums, physical books, journals, newspapers, photos, physical media. Even movies, TV news, radio shows, these are all old forms of media that we are so used to their new media versions that we don't even think of them as changed anymore. But they have been remediated. So remember, we couldn't always easily share immediately every episode of a television show or send podcasts to our friends via text. Maybe that's just me. You couldn't access all of your research digitally. You'd have to go to the library and find physical copies and request them and wait for them to be mailed. So all of these things have been transformed by new media. We have civic debates online. They're often recorded. We can see them at any time. Our research consists of ebooks, online articles. We have databases to search that information. Any video you could ever want to watch is available at the touch of a button. So the traditional forms of media are not gone, they're just different. One thing that the book says that I think is something that I always tell you though, is remember that reading things in print does lead to better comprehension, and that's just my writing teacher thing that I have to say every semester. But generally when you read something in print, you will remember it better. Although there are studies that suggest that this is changing over time, that our brains are adapting to digital media. Now that we have new media, there are new forms of content. And honestly, me telling you this is like me trying to explain to a biologist how animals work. That's a terrible metaphor. But you guys already use all of those new formats, those new content formats. As electronic platforms evolved, the content evolved. Anything that can be delivered digitally now will be delivered digitally, and as such, all of those platforms provide opportunities for argument. Social media is made for posting, sharing, and opinion making. We are so used to them that it doesn't even register as something new. These platforms make sharing easy, but they also make ensuring accuracy very difficult. So one of the things you want to think about when interacting with new forms of media is, how can I determine if this information is accurate or not? So it is our responsibility as users of new media to not only acknowledge that there's misinformation out there and that there are trolls, people who harass, people who bully, but it is also our responsibility to delegitimize harmful and dishonest actions and content. And as students of Writing 1320, you are perfectly equipped to analyze, criticize, and ultimately decide if information is accurate. And you have the tools to research and find out if that is the case. In this new media frontier, the biggest change is actually how the media draws audiences to it. People who have never met, people who are across the globe can connect in these forms of new media and rally around causes like never before. But the problem with this is that it can lead to echo chambers and division amongst societies, right? We have seen this in the last few years in our country. Echo chambers are not good for conversation. Participants reinforce each other's biases. It doesn't lead to rhetorical argumentation, right? Rhetorical argumentation depends on listening carefully, hearing people, and presenting alternate ideas in a clear, logical, and respectful way. It's not about shouting and screaming, but that's the world we live in. So platforms like Twitter have speakers access huge audiences. And so we still need to use those principles of ethos, pathos, and logos to try and root out the good information from the bad information. Also, that's your keyword, your bonus question. Twitter is the answer. The thing to note, though, is that even though there are echo chambers and division, there is also good and legitimate information out there. People can share accurate information on a platform like Twitter or on Instagram or even sillier platforms like TikTok. When someone wants to make an argument on one of those platforms, they can do so legitimately using the principles of rhetoric. So when there are popular hashtags and popular causes on these platforms, there's a real opportunity to create awareness and to spread good information. So how do we do that? You guys know how to do this. We can analyze multimodal arguments the same way we would analyze research for our paper and articles we read online, or even our textbook. You want to ask questions. Who created it? What do you know about them? Are the people being genuine? Are they being sarcastic or ironic? Are they well-intended? Are they trying to stir the pot? What do they want out of the media they're creating? We also want to ask questions about the medium. Does it use images? Does it use word and images? Are there graphs and charts? Where is it appearing? How does the medium affect the message? How does the medium interact in the environment that it's in? Is there an argument that is important to the medium? How is it presented? We also want to ask questions about the audience. Who is the intended audience? Are people invited to see it? Who might not see it? How does the audience participate in the medium? How does the audience respond to it? Does the medium get people to participate? Does it reward participation? Or is it only flat and non-interactive? You can also ask questions about content and purpose. What purpose does the multimodal argument achieve? What is it designed to convey? What is the social, cultural, or political context around the medium? Does it stand alone? Does it reinforce values or question values? Is it in and of itself an argument, or does it contribute to another claim? Is it supporting some larger argument? What emotions does the medium and argument provoke? Are these emotions that it intends to provoke? How does it provoke them? And we can also ask questions about design. How does the site or medium present itself? What draws you to it? How is the text or environment structured? How are ideas framed within this multimodal text or argument? How are ideas identified? How does the design contribute to its success or failure? That's a lot of questions, but those are the same questions that you ask about anything that you read. You're just adapting them for something that is multimodal. Right? Something that doesn't just use words, but may use pictures and design and video and interaction. At the same time, you also need to consider the rhetorical situation, right? Those questions ask that, but you always want to keep in mind purpose, audience, creator, text, content, and context. It's important to remember those when analyzing multimodal arguments. So, how do you make a multimodal argument? What is a multimodal argument? I've been naming all of these things about multimodal arguments. Any kind of element of new media is a multimodal argument. Websites, videos, video essays, wikis, blogs, social media posts, posters, comics, cartoons, Twitter threads, hashtags. All of those are multimodal arguments. So when you create a multimodal argument, you have any of these mediums at your disposal. So go forth and create. Your final project is a multimodal argument. I'm not giving you a lot of restrictions on what will and will not be acceptable. You can use any of the options on the previous slide, any of the things mentioned in chapter 16. It needs to be your own original creation. Don't post someone else's YouTube video. Don't turn in someone else's work. But you have lots and lots of options. It will be about the topic from your research paper, so you already have the research there. The goal is just to present it in a different form. When you submit, you'll include a brief 200-word description. And that's it. That's what we're ending our semester on. I am willing to accept almost any kind of multimodal medium. If you're unsure or want to check with me, you can email me. We can talk about what may or may not work for your topic. Okay, that's it. I will see you on the discussion forum. I'm looking forward to reading all of your research papers. I've just started them. I think that's all I've got. I hope that you guys are staying safe out there. Get in touch if you have any questions.